I'll have to be resetting my screen just to let you know as I walk here, but I'm gonna go get some exercise today. So since I got diagnosed with this chronic hypoxia and early stage heart failure, along with all the other diagnoses I've had over the last 5 years, my health has taken a massive turn. I'm about 265 pounds right now. I'm 5'11", 6 foot on a good day. Hey. But just spent most of my life being a gym rat or had a universal gym at home. So we're going to be getting back in shape. So I'm bringing you all with me. And we're going to be talking about interesting things and interesting places and interesting people. Today I'd like to talk about my viewers, people that watch this, which is literally nobody right now, but that's okay. Because maybe you'll watch this later and maybe you'll get something out of it. So I got some to ask. For those of you that are watching this video, how many of you have ever had breathing issues or heart issues or health issues that you've had to work through? Like me, I'm trying to work through this one. And I woke up this morning and my legs were all swole up again like a dang beach ball. So I have to take these medications that take down the swelling. And once the swelling went down, I was like, holy crap, man, this is just a really quick way to kick the bucket. And I'm not trying to do that. 49 years old and not interested in the premature end of it all, if you know what I mean. I'd actually like to give myself a good chance at making it another 20 years, especially after the conversation I had with my wife last night. You know, she pretty much told me she didn't want to do this without me, and gotta be honest, I was thinking about, you know, do I want to keep doing this? Is this something that I really fighting? Because it's tough. I mean, the dizzy spells that happen throughout the day, always having to jump on oxygen when I'm trying to not be on it for a minute, because this isn't comfortable. Wearing this thing on my face and carrying a big old pack like this thing down here, that's not comfortable. And neither is carrying all this extra weight that I've got. That's not comfortable. And I'm doing everything I can to lose it. I'm eating healthier, trying to live a little healthier, be more active, things like that. But what are some of the things that you've done? Oh, that's an interesting comment. I actually don't do any drugs at all, but thanks for the interesting comment down there. Hey Karen, how's it going? Good to see you out there. So that's my question. What are some of the things that people out there like yourselves are doing to keep healthy? I'm pretty restricted in how far I can go and things of that nature, but I'm willing to push it because that's just who I am. That's probably what got me in this position, was pushing the boundaries of what I should be doing and thinking not about what I shouldn't be doing. But it just is what it is. That's great. I appreciate that. Yeah, I definitely will keep trying my best. Now, I'm not ready to give it up yet. Although every day can be tough, that's for sure, you know, but if there's one thing I was definitely raised was not to be a quitter. That just wasn't an option. I don't know, maybe some of you can relate to that there. If you're coming from families that are a little bit older like mine, the option of quitting was just not on the table. You get up, you fight through everything, and you just keep on going. I think that's just part of life, right? What do you guys think? Is quitting an option? what happened to me? Made a stupid decision on my PPE. That's what happened to me. I should have listened to myself and not listened to somebody else saying that the PPE we had was good enough. When I knew that I shouldn't have done it, I shouldn't have done it. But that's old news. I'm trying to work on the solution today, and the solution is getting healthy, losing some weight, right? Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Somebody said I'm inspiring. Hey, it's just hard to do this alone, you know? So try and find somebody out there that can relate to the experience that I'm going through. Just makes it easier. I know for the last 5 years, it was tough. You know, it was a lot of people. It was just tough it out. I mean, that was the answer. It was, you gotta tough it out and just keep going. And, you know, I was hearing this when I could barely get out of bed. You know, I mean, it was just horrible. I'd wake up in the middle of the night throwing up first thing in the morning at the toilet, and it was like that for about a year and a half. And then I had to go outside with what the doctors were saying and do some things on my own to try and help myself. And I got lucky, something that was completely unorthodox and not prescribed by doctors, and I'm not going to mention it because I don't want to get pulled. I tried it, and it ended up working. I started feeling a little bit better. Unfortunately, the damage was done, and it took a couple more years to kind of get it all out. And finally I got a doctor, and it took a long time because, you know, when you're fighting against workers' comp or labor and industry, they're definitely not there to help you. Don't make that mistake. At least not in my experience. They're not trying to do anything unless they absolutely have to. And the way I've seen it, and my experience was, they're not. Well, they're just not there for you. But I got lucky recently. I got a doctor, just like I had one doctor in the beginning that helped enough. I got a doctor recently that had a little bit of faith, ran some tests, and wouldn't shy away from the idea. And, well, we found out a bunch of stuff that was going on, and now we're on the mend here. So that's pretty awesome. Sorry, the sun's shining at the phone here, so it's hard to read what some people are saying, but I definitely appreciate everybody chiming in. That's pretty awesome. Really didn't think I'd have any sort of response to it. Thought it would just be me out here hanging out by myself. But we're making our way to the high school track. It's about 3 blocks away from my house. Give you guys a view here. This is McLaughlin High School track. It's pretty cool. This is actually my grandpa, who passed away, I don't know, 15 years ago. He actually went to school here. He was the high school quarterback of this school. Now, I grew up in the Northwest, and this is northeastern Oregon, but ended up moving back here to a place I was working on before my injury. And I'm glad that I picked this place because it's a lot of retired people out here. Yeah, so I was my diagnosis, which I've been diagnosed with a lot of things in the last 5 years. So one of my first diagnoses was chemical inhalation phalange. So it burned the inside of my throat. One of the second diagnoses, they found I was having breathing issues. So it was occupational asthma by chemical inhalation. Then they found I had developed cysts on my kidneys from all the toxins coming out. That wasn't diagnosed, but that's literally it happened after all of it. So it just kind of lines up with the research I've done. I was diagnosed with diastolic failure. from not getting oxygen and chronic hypoxemia or hypoxia. So my oxygen just tanks randomly throughout the day. I actually have an O2 meter in my pocket, and anytime I start getting this dizzy feeling, blurred vision, I'll check my oxygen. And fortunately for me, the machine I'm on right now down here, it does a pretty good job of elevating my normal 92 to 94% oxygen up to about 96. So when it tanks out, instead of dropping into the low 80s, it usually drops in just the upper 80s or 90s, which for me is a fairly acceptable level. So those are just a few of the things I've been diagnosed with. Also was diagnosed with PTSD related to my injury. I definitely lost my mind when I was sitting there suffocating and couldn't get any help, and that's what it was like for years. I was screaming that I couldn't breathe, but because I was going through workers' comp, they refused to test anything that wasn't exactly what was listed on the paperwork as my injury. So even though I had a chemical inhalation, they wouldn't test my oxygen because it was only an injury to my throat, which is just crazy to me. It was one of the big problems with the doctors I had, and they refused to do it because they would say things like, well, do you want me to lose my job? I'm like, no, I just want you to do your job. I'm dying here. And I got lucky enough that instead of trusting them, took some matters in my own hands. And I did have one good pulmonary specialist, and I'll mention her name down the road after everything gets settled and said, but got to tell you, she gave me the first breathing machine at about 1.5 years. They ran some tests for my nocturnal hypoxemia, because that was one of the first things they found, is that my oxygen was dropping. So in a 24-hour period, I had 54 drops in my oxygen, down below 88%. The longest one lasting 23 minutes, most of them lasting just a few minutes, and that was one night of sleeping. So they actually gave me an air condenser, put me on 3 liters of oxygen, and I was only supposed to use it at night. But if it wasn't for that doctor giving me that air condenser, I wouldn't be here right now. I'm sure of that, because I used that thing throughout every single day for the last couple years, and that's what it took to actually get a diagnosis of chronic hypoxia. So just word to the wise, in my experience, if you're fighting the state or L&I, go to the doctor first, get a good doctor, file your thing with the state, let them deny you, and then go to the doctor. Treatment there, because the doctors will actually treat you, and then from there, deal with your other stuff. Now, your health is more important. I made the mistake of thinking that the state was going to help me, and it just wasn't the situation. They really didn't. I mean, they would have just let me kick the bucket, and that's unfortunate. I have kids, I have family, I have people I care about, and this whole event has caused many issues in my life, and a lot of them are just unrepairable. So at least I'm here. I got a fighting chance, and we're doing a live recording for all those here. Oh no. Sorry to hear Miss Erin and Miss Beatty passed away yesterday. That stinks. I hope you have a better day, because that's when you lose somebody. We grow close and attached to people throughout our life, and I'm definitely one of those kind of people that I really do wear my heart on my shoulder, on my sleeve, right? So when I find somebody that I want to be close to, or friends that are in my life, I really consider them friends. I consider them family. That's just how I am. I mean, it takes a lot to get there, but once they're there, just couldn't imagine missing people. Shout out to those people in my life. You know, if I were to lose you, I'd be broken. Um, Unfortunately, we are on lap 2 of the track here, so a quarter-mile track. I'm officially I've got to be coming up on a half mile. We're doing good, man. Got 3 liters of oxygen, a few little kind of dizzy feelings, but nothing crazy off the hook. I definitely noticed since they started giving me the medication for my heart, my oxygen seems to be doing just a little bit better on a regular basis. So that's freaking awesome. Oh. Thank you for the person out there thinking it's wonderful. I'm walking, I'm trying. This is 49 years old and going through this. It's not where I expected to be. You know, it took me a long time to get my life together. I was a little late starter. I was a musician and in construction and different jobs and stuff like that, but it was really adventurous for the first part of my life until my kids were born. And then a few years after they're born, I finally settled down and got to it. So my kids are in their early 20s and late teens, and you know, I finally get everything together. Everything's working out, doing great in my career, making more money than I ever had before. And all it took was a couple bad choices, and it happened so quick, you know. I mean, it literally, what was happening, it was unbelievable. It was almost laughing about it, because it just didn't seem like even a possibility when it was happening. I mean, I was sitting there, I'd get off work and then go to my best friend, I consider my brother Luke. I go see him and talk to him, you know, is this safe? And he'd be like, oh, it's just a little bit of bleach kind of thing. Man, whew. Tell you what, the hazards of chemicals are real. And I'm an idiot. But I'm trying to do better today. So, back to my big question here. If you know somebody who's dealing with things like diastolic heart failure or pulmonary issues where they have a hard time getting oxygen, I'm curious to know what kind of exercises are the best to rehabilitate yourself. I don't believe that this is a one and done deal. I don't think in my heart that this is going to be the end for me. I've been through too much in my life, and I've managed to recoup myself, come back from it, get healthy just fine, without any little strings attached or issues. And we're going to change hands because my arms get tired. I've got to believe that this is kind of the same thing, right? I mean, it's a bigger one for sure. It's a wake-up call. I definitely take my commitments much more serious these days, and you know, I'm more aware of how it affects my health, both mental health and physical health. I think that's an important thing I've come to realize is I don't have to say yes to everybody. Just because somebody says it's the right way to do something or wants you to do it their way doesn't mean it's the right way for you, and doesn't necessarily mean it's a safe way. You know, I think it's important to think for yourself and make decisions that are good for yourself before making those decisions for something else, you know? I guess I don't know. Well, probably not saying it right, but you just got to be aware. I've got to be aware. I've got to be more aware of my surroundings and what I'm doing and how it affects me and how it affects other people. See, even when this injury happened, my kids were literally there visiting me. And, you know, I was every other weekend dad, but saw my kids a whole heck of a lot more than that. I always thought I was a good dad, but they were there visiting me when all this happened. And there was anger and frustration and confusion in me, you know, because I kind of lost it. Terrified at what was going on, not being able to breathe. And those, you know, unfortunately some of those relationships got shattered because of this whole thing and how it's affected my life and my mental state and everything. And I am trying to get better. I am doing my best every single day. Push myself a little bit, and I have this whole time. Heck, I remember after this accident happened, I think we need to take a little break here. Getting a little dizzy, guys. Let's have a seat for a minute. Oh, and hopefully we'll be able to get back up. Oh, see if there's some questions here. It says, I developed my lung condition from taking macrobide medication, low dose, for 6 months. It caused difficulty breathing. I'm sorry to hear that. I'd like to know, when you were having a difficulty breathing, what was that like for you? Was it scary? I mean, is that something that were you able to work through it? Are you doing better now? I hope you're doing better now. I could never wish that on anybody. Breathing is, I took it for granted. And just the idea of breathing I took for granted it's not something I thought about on a regular basis. It wasn't like, oh, this is never it's gonna stop someday and I'm not gonna breathe. It was, in my head, it just wasn't a thing until it was a thing, and then it was terrifying. So I hope you're doing better with your breathing, for sure. Hey everybody. Yeah, we're a little dizzy. And thanks for joining me. I appreciate it. You know, it's nice to know I'm not alone on this walk, and sometimes it feels like that. You know, I've got a beautiful, wonderful person at home that is by my side no matter what. I don't know where I'd be without her. Blessing, you know, and we ended up getting together when I was literally at the lowest of my life, and she was at a low point too. We just found each other, and in the beginning it wasn't really healthy, but we have grown together in a way that I can't even describe. I couldn't imagine being without her, and that is just a massive blessing. So just want to put that out there. So if you've got somebody and you're going through something like I'm going through, or just going through your own health issue, you know, and you're having a hard time, I hope you've got somebody by your side that is there to hold your hand when you need it, and there to carry you when you need it. And I hope that if they do that for you, that you get better, and then someday you can return that. You know, life can be tough, and you know, there's really only two options, right? Just give up and lay down, or keep fighting. And today I choose to fight. So I hope you choose to fight too, but we're going to get back on this thing, and my arm's getting a little tired. I appreciate everybody that joined, and thank you very much. You know, this is Driftwood, and we'll be back tomorrow for the next walk. Talk to you soon. If I can figure out how to turn this thing off. And the track.